Usually on a launch, it's all about the bike. So we're out on the track or we're out on the road, full leathers, helmet hair, the whole shebang. But tonight, we're on a private yacht in San Diego for the launch of this, the Ducati XDiavel. Ducati always have a really special way of launching their bikes, whether it be the 1299 in Portimao, the Scrambler in Palm Springs, but something feels a bit extra special about this bike and this launch, and so we want to give you an insight into what we get up to on these trips. So the first I heard of this event was from my boss. He gave me a vague idea of what I had to bring to wear, told me to bring a smart dinner jacket, said we'd be meeting at Heathrow Airport and going to San Diego, California, but that was it. So as I said, Ducati are making a massive effort with this one. They're putting bikes on boats. They've been here since last summer doing recce runs of the area, and they've got press from all over the world coming here, putting us in lovely hotels and taking us around in pretty pimp transport too. So the boat wasn't just for show, we weren't just eating on it. They also took us on a big trip around the harbour. We saw the USS Midway aircraft carrier, but more importantly, we had a big presentation where they made the headline changes over the standard Diavel pretty clear, and those were a reworked engine, feet forward positioning, belt drive instead of chain drive, and obviously this is a big styling exercise too. I've been on the boat, I've worn the jacket, had the presentation, now it's time to ride the bike. I've only had about 5 minutes on this bike, but the torque on it is mental. On the standard Diavel, it's kind of the usual torque curve. It goes flat, flat, and then it goes up. This is just like right up there straight away. It has a small dip, and then it goes back up again, but it makes max torque at 5,000 RPM. And the difference that you can feel compared to that standard bike is massive. It genuinely, it feels like an absolute beast underneath you. Ducati come out here and they find the best roads, the best locations, the best scenery, and it's just always a reminder. You think, why do I live in England again? I feel like I'm James Bond and I've got a red ejector button seat. There's a little button here called DPL right behind the brake reservoir, and if you press that, that's Ducati Power Launch, which is a new feature on this bike. And there's DPL on level 1, 2, 3. Put it on level 1, you select that, and then basically it tells you to pull the clutch in, open the throttle to full, and then just let the clutch go, and it sorts everything out, the traction control, the wheel slip, all that stuff. It does it for you for the best possible launch. We can't do it here because we're on the road, but I think as soon as we find a straight road where there's not too many people around, we'll give it a go. But I tell you what, dropping the clutch on an almost 1300cc engine with the throttle wide open, it's going to take some balls. So Ducati was saying in the press conference last night that the S model is actually the way they envisaged the bike to be from the start, and the base model is just a cheaper option to that. We've been riding the S model this morning, and unlike Ducatis in the past, the S is less about performance. So there's no Öhlins suspension difference, there's no high horsepower figures or anything like that. The only performance upgrade on this S model over the base model are the M50 Brembo monoblocks. Other than that, what changes do you get? The wheels are different. I'm going to try and remember everything. You get a brushed aluminium swing arm, you get brushed aluminium side plates, different radiator side covers, daytime running lights, you get a Bluetooth infotainment system, and a big difference is the glossy tank. You also get a different seat, billet mirrors, machined cam belt covers, and a DLC coating, which is Ducati's diamond-like coating on the forks, which give them that black look on the stanchions. A lot of the time when we come to these launches, we're confined to a bit of a group, but today we're really lucky because we've got Giulio, who's the recce rider. So you come out here a few weeks before, you find these cool roads, these cool locations. How long does it take to find stuff like this?
Yeah, we started looking about this road since this last summer, and you are lucky because we found the American road.
So you got stuff for the straights, and then we've just gone through some twisty stuff. So do you get to ride the bikes and kind of find out which roads are suited to the bike and things like that?
Yeah, I did, and I really enjoyed the bike because it's really American style.
Exactly, yeah. No, I have to say California, San Diego, so far is well suited to this bike. It's pretty damn cool. I think you've done a good job with it anyway.
Thank you.
Just off for lunch, we've been riding on the XDiavel S this morning. Got Shaky Burn here with us. What do you reckon of the bike?
I think they've done a much better job than I anticipated. I love the bike to look at, but I don't know about you, I found that the bike works at sort of 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, it works at 20 miles an hour, it works at whatever miles an hour, and then that's the kind of cruiser side of things taken care of. But when you crack the throttle on, it makes a load of power from sort of 4,000 or 5,000 RPM and just kind of takes off like a jet.
When Ducati released the standard Diavel, their slogan for the bike was "Don't call me a cruiser," and I imagine it's got something to do with the fact that they didn't want people having negative connotations of what they associate with a cruiser. The XDiavel, in looks at least, is definitely a cruiser. It's got the teardrop shaped tank, feet forward positioning, big V-twin engine, and yet having ridden it this morning, it's got to be the least cruiser thing I've ever ridden. We've done loads and loads of corners, put the bike through its paces, and it handles like a well set up naked bike. When you take a look at the XDiavel, you think that thing has got absolutely no right to handle well. It's drawn out, it weighs about as much as one of the battleships that we saw in the harbour yesterday, and you think, how is this thing doing it? It's stable, it's precise, it's quick steering, it holds a line, and it just blows away any preconceptions that you might have of what a cruiser should be and how it should feel on the road. Now, Ducati said that this is an engine with a motorcycle built around it. It is all about the engine, and it's a new one at that. It's 1262cc, so almost 1.3 litres, and it's got that desmodromic variable valve timing, the same unit as in the Diavel and also in the Multistrada, but it's slightly down on power compared to that standard Diavel. That makes 162 horsepower. This one's at 156 horsepower, but the difference is that torque figure. Where the standard Diavel makes its max torque figure at around 8,000 RPM, this is at 5,000 RPM. And on the road, it is massively noticeable. You can chuck it in 6th gear at 50 miles an hour, crack open the throttle to the stopper, and there's a momentary judder, and then this thing, with that 240 section rear tyre, just spits the earth backwards. This thing has got bottom end, it's got mid-range, it's got top end, it's quick revving. It is basically a superbike engine transplanted into this awesome looking machine. Following on from that superbike pedigree, this bike also has a really impressive chassis on it. The standard Diavel has got a max lean angle of 41 degrees, and no one's ever accused that of being a slouch in the corners. Usually, cruisers have a max lean angle of about 27, 28, that's what you get really from a Harley. This thing bottoms out on the pegs at 40 degrees. Now, we've been bombing it around the mountains all day today, and I haven't decked the pegs out once, and I'm not gonna lie, we've been going for it. A few things that stood out to me, really stood out. The seat, genuinely one of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat on. Secondly, the gearbox has got quite a long throw to that shifter. Thirdly, the exhaust, absolutely love it on this bike. Look at it, it's massive. The base model and the S version get the same suspension. It's fully adjustable sack suspension, front and rear, and you don't really need anything else on this bike. It's really well damped, but if you do need to change it, obviously the preload, the compression, the rebound damping is all there to change. The rear tyre, loads of people look at that and think that's got to slow down the handling of the bike, but to be honest, it looks awesome from the rear. It gives the bike so much presence, and when you combine the corner ABS, the brakes, that amazing engine, the grip from the rear tyre, you can just slingshot from corner to corner to corner, and it will astound any rider who looks at this and thinks that it's a cruiser. it's not. So take a look at this thing, because it's got more electronics than some of the super bikes on the market, as well as having an electronic key that you can just keep in your pocket to fire up the bike. It's got that Ducati power launch system, the launch control, cornering ABS, self-cancelling indicators, cruise control, and then there's also a full riding mode system. So there's 3 options to choose from: sport, urban and touring, and every single one is completely adjustable, so you can change how much power the engine puts out from high, medium to low. There's also ABS and how much it cuts in, and then there's 9 different settings on that traction control system from off to level 8. Obviously I've been raving about this bike today, but good things do come at a cost. We're on the base model at the moment, which is the matte black tank, lower spec brakes, different wheels, different seat, and it comes in at 15,395. If you want the S model, which has the glossy tank, the forged aluminium bits, the different wheels, the different seat, the higher spec M50 brakes, that's 18,395. Now, obviously that's not cheap, but actually when you compare it to a Harley, that's reasonably good value. This is a bike that will handle, this is a bike that's got speed, full electronics package. Look at Harleys, all they've really got is heritage. They're not particularly well built, they're big air-cooled V-twins, and suddenly you can start to see why they've priced it where they have. And that is why we're here in San Diego, California, because obviously Ducati wants a bit of that American market. They want to take some sales away from Harley. Obviously, we've been treated like kings the last few days. We've had fantastic roads, great sunny weather. We've been on a boat, we've been with shaky burn, we've done everything that you'd really want to do. So when you say something good about the bike, it can probably come across as lip service, but it's our job to see through that stuff. And any compliments that we give the bike is because it deserves it. And if you don't believe us, go for a test ride. Go for a test ride, because this bike will prove you wrong.